This episode is brought to you by Ariston Specialties in Bloomfield, Connecticut. They're makers of amazing olive oils and other Greek delights. Check them out online at aristonspecialties.com. That's Ariston, Ariston, specialties.com. As the summer tomatoes roll in, we start making all kinds of tomato salads. And you're about to hear one of my favorite tomato salads. It's just made with fresh corn and crispy bacon. Welcome back to our podcast home where brand new editions of the Food Schmooze Party now live. And that address is faithmiddleton.com. Lucky me, I get to do this show with the all-stars. Hey, everybody.
Hey, Faith. Hey, Faith.
I love that sound. All right. Hey, let's go tomato crazy. Chris Prosperi, chef and co-owner of Metro Beast in Simsbury, Connecticut. Alex Province in Hartford and sometimes Arizona. Mark Raymond in Wethersfield, Connecticut. The associate producer is Joanne Church. Okay, Chris, my buddy.
Yes.
What's one of your favorite ways to make a tomato salad?
All right. So every year my tomato salad changes. Right? I don't know why. It just does. When the first tomatoes come in, I start thinking like, what's my tomato salad? And when I mean my tomato salad, the one I eat every day. This year, and I've been experimenting, but it's a little weird, but bear with me. You ready? It's a tomato, watermelon, and feta cheese salad. Toasted all.
I love it.
And at first you think watermelon and tomato, but remember, tomatoes are fruit, so they kind of go together. And the acidity right now in the tomatoes with the sweetness of the watermelon and the little, I know you're going to love this, Faith, the little crunchy nubs of toasted almond slivers, and then that pop of feta cheese, and then extra virgin olive oil, and some fresh basil, a little drizzle of some vinegar. It doesn't even need it, but you can, and it's just heaven.
Oh, that sounds really good. Ooh.
I love it. Okay, so I've got one. So as you recall, Alex, I just got back from Spain, and in Spain they do a refrigerated tomato salad that goes into the refrigerator for a few hours, marinates, macerates, and then comes out, and then it's served family style. Everyone takes delicious bread, and sort of sops up the juice and eats it family style out of the middle of the table. And the juice that runs out of the tomatoes are just to die for. So
wait a minute, what's in there? What's in there?
Well, here's the thing. I always made it with sliced tomatoes, olive oil, a little red wine vinegar, and sea salt. And then my uncle, who has a farm in Andalusia, Spain, made this tomato salad for me. And it was so different than how I do it. And his was out of this world delicious. So he takes beautiful tomatoes that they grow themselves. And I would only recommend doing this with really good tomatoes in the season. Because
farmers market.
They have to be like good heirloom tomatoes with flavor. He actually peels the tomato, and so he takes a paring knife and he goes around and peels it like a potato. But they have so many tomatoes that they can sort of be wasteful, because what's left over goes to feed the chickens and then the jamón serrano pig. So it's kind of like humans are at the top of the pyramid and then it's all being eaten. So he like
wait a minute. I can't get past the idea that the chickens are eating tomatoes. Do they eat them?
Oh
yeah, they love them. And the Pata Negra hams love them as well. But I guess they're not hams yet. So I recreated it. So you peel a tomato, and it's easier said than it's easier to do than you would think. And Chris, you could probably teach us how.
With a paring knife in seconds.
And you just pull it apart, right? And the skin comes right off. Yep. And then he carves the flesh like into little chips off the side of the tomato. So it's like a potato chip, and then leaves all the gelatinous seed stuff in the center. So you're really just getting little quarter-sized pieces meat of the tomato. Mm-hmm. And then that went into a plate with sea salt, and we ate it just like that. And it was
on bread or on bread?
With bread. It's just it with the sea salt, all the juices run, and you refrigerate it. So we did it last night, and then I experimented. I'm like, how would olive oil not make something better? But I tell you, when the tomatoes are in season with good bread and just refrigerated, and the salt brings out the juice. It was crazy good, just like that.
You could drink the juice.
I love it. Yeah. And make a great Bloody Mary with that.
Oh, yeah.
You could just keep the vodka on the side and then sort of mix it in your mouth. But
nice.
How can something so simple be good, though, like that?
So let me just say, I bet you're listening to this. I know I am. And I immediately am thinking to myself, I have to memorize every word of this because I want to try every single one of these so far. Mark Raymond, here you go.
Yeah. So mine's kind of an Asian spin on the tomato salad. So It's tomato. It's sort of made like a chopped salad. There's no lettuce in this, but it's tomatoes, cucumbers, because I've got a ton of cucumbers in my garden right now. Yeah. Fresh scallions, radishes from the garden, nice. red and yellow peppers, all cut up bite size that are easy to eat. And then I toss it in with some rice vinegar, soy sauce, sesame oil, and just top it off with some sesame seeds. And it is absolutely amazing.
Totally different, but I love it.
And I do too.
On the side of it, on a grilled, you're having a grilled fish dish, a little side dish. It's absolutely incredible. I love it.
And how does the cucumber work with it? I mean, it seems very Greek in terms of, we'll get that combination from the Greeks, but how is that together?
It's maybe fantastic. It's just, you get that crunchy crispness, but it's kind of a neutral flavor, and the soy and the sesame oil just kind of blend in so nice.
That's two of my favorite things right there.
We have a saying written on the kitchen wall, and it says, if it grows together, it goes together. Right? Does that make sense? So if it's in the garden together, automatically it goes together. And it's so true.
Yes. Yeah.
Mark, I would take that and wrap it in a lettuce leaf and eat it like a healthy.
I like it.
Sort.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Boston
That's a great
lettuce.
idea.
Yeah. Oh.
That's a great appetizer.
What was that diet everybody was on? What's the diet everybody was on for a while? Was South Beach diet?
Oh, South
Beach.
Wrapping everything in lettuce leaves.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay. Joanne Church is here, who's the associate producer of the show. And she was telling me about a salad that a friend of hers make. I was like, my mouth was watering, like it is for every single one of these salads. So, Joanne, tell me quickly, how does that go?
Oh my gosh, it's so easy. So depending on how many people you feed, you chop up the tomatoes, chop up a couple of handfuls of fresh basil, chop up as much garlic as your family can take, and put those all together. A little kosher salt on top, a little olive oil, cover it. We make it in the morning, and other than the flavor of it over pasta for lunch, the scent in your kitchen and perhaps your entire house is so incredible.
That's a great explanation right there. Okay.
Love it.
So I'll do this quickly. And I have to say that my mouth waters thinking about this. And so I'm going to tell you in a minute, because it involves bacon, of course.
You got my attention.
Before we get to it, I want to, if anybody's taking note of something, please take note of this, because we are, some of us, sitting here drinking this delicious wine that Mark sent along and said, try this. And, because I was thinking, what goes with the summer tomato salads? That's the tomatoes start rolling in and lots of other vegetables rolling in. What goes with this? And should it be white or red? Sometimes I will even do a Spanish red with this that I keep in the refrigerator or something like that. But this wine that Mark sent over, which is $15 a bottle before I get to my bacon, this is delicious. It is a white wine. And Mark, I have to say, you're going to explain it for us, okay? It's a Friulano 2020. He'll explain it. And the winery is called, Mark?
Conti Brandolini.
Ooh. Conti Brandolini.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute.
A little difficult to say, but yes.
This is the part where I say, so this is it's got the Friulano grape in it, right?
Correct.
Yes. And so that's in Northeast Italy, and that's near Venice.
Yeah, it's at Friuli. It's a little bit northeast of Venice. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I have to say this because, if you were going to make up a name as a count, this is the name I would make up. His name it's so great. It's the greatest name. I was like, his name is Count Brandolini. I just think that it's so cool. It's just like
the nicest guy.
I just want to meet him. It's
no,
like,
Faith,
I want to be able to. Yeah.
Faith, you have to say it in your Italian accent. The one where you shout.
The one that I do. Yeah.
You got to talk really loud. Yeah.
Piacere.
Piacere.
The only problem is you're screaming, Faith. It's like, okay, Mark, how would you describe this white? Because Joanne Church and I were trying to figure this out. And it's, how do you just, because we couldn't put our finger on how to say what the personality is, because it's not like anything we've had in this way. And so it's a wonderful white that way.
It really
it's a little
is.
bit unusual. And so it's a great discovery. Tell me.
Well, one thing I love about this is it's super fresh. It's 2020 vintage, right? So This is about as fresh as it gets for an Italian white wine. It is a delicate, but yet it's got a little bit of weight to it. So
that's perfect.
It's delicate, but it's got a little weight to it. It's not as weighty as a Chardonnay, but it's not as light and crisp as a Sauvignon Blanc. It's somewhere in between.
It's like all of us.
Exactly. We're somewhere in between.
Okay.
It's got a wonderful floral nose to it. It's got wonderful citrus notes to it on the palate. It's really crisp. It's really refreshing. I think it goes great with like grilled fish, or my daughter just the other day, she did this TikTok video with a pasta in the oven with feta cheese, chicken, and pasta. And it looked and sounded delicious. I didn't smell it, but it sounded amazing. And this would go perfect with that, because any type of chicken dish I think would be fantastic with this. Yeah, it's not one that you would ask for every day, but I tell you, when you try this wine, you get your nose into it, you get it on the palate, it just kind of draws you in. You want more.
What? People are going to say, if you just pull this wine out or you bring it to somebody's house, and Chris has been known to open the wine coming in the door so that he gets to have some of it.
But still in the bottle.
But
cork just sticking up a little bit.
So nice of you. People are bound to say, wow, what is this? This is good. And you can't quite put your finger on why. But Mark had it really nailed, where I know it doesn't explain the flavor, because if you say it's weighty and light at the same time, but it's I don't know. You said it's a little bit floral. I would say, if you don't mind, just trust us on this one. This is a good wine. Quickly, here's my thing. I fry up some bacon. Okay, wait a minute. I fry up a lot of bacon, and until it gets crispy. And I call the bacon a flavoring agent, but I do that as a joke. Okay, and then I crumble it all up, and then I chop up cherry tomatoes, or you can do large fresh ones, because whatever's rolling into your market that looks good to you. And then I just slice fresh corn right off the cob. It can be cooked or uncooked. What difference does it make? And then I do a little vinaigrette. Now, if you were on a camping or I just don't have any energy, you could do your favorite bottled vinaigrette. But otherwise, I put olive oil and usually for me, red wine vinegar, not balsamico. So, and then a chopped basil or chopped cilantro or whatever it is that you like, and you might be able to get fresh in the market. And wow, I gotta say, this thing flies around the table. I just mix it all up together, and it's got all these juices and the sweetness of the corn against the acid of the tomatoes. Sometimes they're a little sweet. If you get them cherry tomatoes that are all mixed up in slightly different colors and sweetness, and this is the good thing. And I like Chris's idea, it wasn't Chris, it was Alex. Alex's idea where you put that on bread or serve it with bread, or maybe on the grill for a couple minutes or whatever.
So I think you need to make a bacon lasagna. So instead of crumbling the bacon, use it as like a lasagna
layer.
As a sheet.
You layer.
Bacon, tomato, yeah.
Oh.
Let me say,
And
you're
mayonnaise
going to die. Let me say, I had, how you love in the summer, especially, at least I do, the mozzarella, fresh mozzarella, and sliced tomatoes and basil.
Yeah.
And, and then you do it as a sandwich. So I go to a particular market, here in Guilford, and I go to this market and I say, okay, this is what I want. And they say, oh no, we can't give you the X spread that you want. And they said, but we could give you a wrap. And I said, a wrap? So they put all of this together in a wrap.
Wow,
and
great idea.
It was like the craziest thing to try and eat. It was, and they said, I said, do you have any pesto? And they said, yes. And I said, okay, throw some of that in there too. So in a sense, it doesn't even matter what the bread is. It's just a vessel.
Yeah.
Well, once
I'm hungry.
again, my heart explodes being with these folks. We hope it's good for you having a seat at the table. And thanks for inviting us in to see you. And thanks to Joanne Church, our associate producer. And of course, we'll see you next time with our brand new, fresh editions of the Food Schmooze Party.